love that. Do you think that that's kind of the root for why so many Christian apologists are anti-evolution? Do you think they're tied together? I know we have a conference coming here in a few weeks, and the highlight speakers will make claims that we need to inoculate our youth against evolution, that you must choose between either God created or it evolved, that those are not compatible ideas. Is that part of
Yeah,
it? This looking for God in the mystery, only in the mystery?
I, I do. Yeah, I think the modern intelligent design movement, and I should clarify, and maybe people are comfortable with this, but I believe in an intelligent designer, and I believe there is intelligent design in the universe and in biology and in the world. But most of the intelligent design movement is looking for things that science can't explain and saying that is how we point to God. Here's this bacterial flagellum or the fine tuning of the universe. Science can't make sense out of that. So that's what we're going to hold on to and embrace as evidence for God. But if we look back into scripture, I don't think it's telling us to look to creation to try and prove the existence of God. I think it's wanting us to encounter God through what has been created as we come to understanding of the physical structure of the universe and the story of the history of life and those sorts of questions. And so I am not a big supporter of the modern intelligent design movement because it's basically doubling down on the ideas of William Paley from 200 years ago, that God is in the mysterious, and that's where, Christians should look to find evidence for God is just things that science can't explain. Now, not to say that there aren't things that science will never be able to explain, and that is where God is present, but I think we're digging our own grave if that's where we put all of our effort, is trying to explain God through what is mysterious, because as more and more is explained by science, then God is less and less present in our day-to-day lives. And that is creating that gulf between knowing God on Sunday morning and encountering God through scripture and the rest of our life, in which I don't see miracles every day, but when I understand God's presence in photosynthesis and in the sun rising and the sun setting and in all of the systems that are present in my body, then I have an encounter with God every single day. And that's the message that I don't hear from the proponents of trying to integrate science and Christian faith.
Well, since we broached the subject of intelligent design, I would like to offer our viewers a glimpse of one of your latest videos, Dale, and then maybe have you comment on it in just a moment. So this is one of the latest videos from Disciple Science. It's called Easing the Tension. We'll watch about the first minute or so.
Okay.
Among the greatest sources of tension between science and faith is the idea that scientific explanations leave no room for God. This is prominently displayed when Christian scientists search for divine action in nature. They present God at the boundaries of our understandings. What caused the universe? How could life come from non-life? Why does the cosmos work like it does? And how could life get so complex without a designer? While these may be logical and fruitful places to look for supernatural activity, this specific emphasis exposes our discomfort with God's role in the better understood aspects of nature. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, renowned German theologian, warned us against this approach, writing, "How wrong is it to use God as a stopgap for the incompleteness of our knowledge? If in fact the frontiers of knowledge are being pushed further and further back, then God is being pushed back with them and is therefore continually in retreat. We are to find God in what we know, not in what we don't know. If we look for God only in the mysterious, then we're guaranteed not to hold sacred what is familiar. Instead, Psalm 104 is
Easing the tension. So, Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a critic of modern intelligent design. You want to talk about that quote for a second? I think it's such a powerful quote.
I agree. Yeah, and I think that that modern intelligent design didn't exist in its current form. There was no Discovery Institute 100 years ago, but I think that's what he was pointing towards and saying, if we are looking for God only in what is mysterious, we're going to find less and less a role for God as science explains more and more. And that's rooted not only in sort of a desire to find a place for God, but I think what Scripture is telling us, that if we read Psalm 104, or if we read actually just a critical account of the entire Bible, the message it's trying to convey to us is that God is present in all of these systems that God put together, that God can be found in what science is explaining, that God is in photosynthesis, and God is in the physics, and God is in the natural selection, and that these are the systems that God put in place. And that's where we need to find our harmony, not by allowing science to do its thing and finding gaps for God to fill, and putting it together that way. For me, that's just so problematic. It doesn't. It just puts distance between me and God. It makes God absent in my day-to-day life, in which I can explain most of what's going on around me. If I'm only finding God in the mystery and I'm not experiencing miracles in my life, then where is God? So I think that the intelligent design movement is doubling down on a problem and making it worse rather than making it better. And I don't want to cause tension and conflict between the Christians that see that as a way to encounter God or evidence for God. I'm comfortable with it as evidence for God, but we're not seeking to prove God. We're seeking to have a relationship with God. And so God can't be only mysterious.